chronic kidney disease is associated with lower levels of nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, NAD. That begs the question, can you improve kidney function by raising NAD levels with a NAD booster supplement like nicotinamide riboside? Well, we have a paper here that looked at just that. Randomized crossover clinical trial of nicotinamide riboside and or CoQ10 for people with chronic kidney disease. So these were 25-minute women. They were in their 60s. Some of them had diabetes. They split them into two 6-week groups, essentially. One group takes 1,000 milligrams of nicotinamide riboside or a placebo for 6 weeks, and then they come back later and they give those same people 1,200 milligrams of CoQ10 or placebo again for 6 weeks. We're going to focus mainly on the nicotinamide riboside outcomes in this paper. So this is the actual study you can see on PubMed.gov. I went and actually got this paper. Let's take a look at it next. So here's the actual paper we're talking about. Let's scroll through this paper to get a better idea of what their results were. So these are individuals with low kidney function. It's shown to us by their estimated glomerular filtration rate, which is around 37. That's low. They give 1,000 milligrams of nicotinamide riboside for 6 weeks, and their finding is no change in glomerular filtration rate, no change in kidney function when people took 1,000 milligrams of nicotinamide riboside, again, for 6 weeks. For me, I don't need to read any further if I've got kidney problems. This says to me all I need to know. But we're not done yet. Let's scroll through this paper a little bit more and see what his other findings were. So they put people on a bike to measure their aerobic fitness before and after exercise and to see how much work they can actually do on the bike. And they find that their VO2 peak, which is the most work they can do on the bike, did not change significantly with nicotinamide riboside, again, for 6 weeks. So let's remember these are individuals with low fitness levels to begin with. Nicotinamide riboside did not appear to help them. What does this mean for higher functioning people like real cyclists who may be taking nicotinamide riboside? So I'm going to link to some of my other nicotinamide riboside videos below this one so you can check out the results of those other studies to see if, again, this might be right for you. They also say the same thing a little bit further down. Physical endurance measured as total work performed during cycle ergometry, that's a bike, did not improve after taking nicotinamide riboside. They also mentioned something else interesting here. They measure what's called the RER, respiratory exchange ratio, and that's fancy science talk for are you burning more fat or are you burning more carbs? And so they're finding that there was no change in fat or carb use at rest when people took nicotinamide riboside. But they also report something else that's interesting. At 30 watts and 60 watts on the bike, which is, again, sub-maximal levels of exercise on the bike, they find that RER tended to increase with nicotinamide riboside. What does that mean? Well, remember, as RER goes up, we tend to use more carbohydrates for fuel. So this would apparently mean that nicotinamide riboside appears to shift the energy use, the fuel utilization used during exercise, more to carbohydrates and less away from, say, fat. What ultimately does this mean for people who have chronic kidney failure? I honestly am not quite sure. I am thinking, however, of real athletes who ride a bike or run and they're taking nicotinamide riboside. What would happen if you took this and it made you burn more carbs during your, say, 100-mile bike ride? Could this make you run out of energy faster? I don't know the answer to that. Haven't seen any real athlete studies on this. It's just one of the things that made me go, when I read this investigation. Another thing they find in this study is that there were significant declines in triglyceride levels when people took nicotinamide riboside. Again, let's remember, they were taking a lot of nicotinamide riboside in this study, more than I think a lot of people are probably taking. If they're only popping like 1 or 2 capsules a day, then they may not be getting the same amount as they took in this study. Again, I'll link to my other nicotinamide riboside studies below this one. Some good news, however, is that there were no serious side effects of people who took either the nicotinamide riboside supplement or the CoQ10, so that's a good thing. And the nicotinamide riboside was actually given to the researchers by the Chromadex company. These are the people that actually hold the trademark on nicotinamide riboside. I didn't see any mention of whether the company actually played a role in the results of this clinical trial, and I also didn't see any relationship between the researchers and the ChromaDex company, so I'll take that to mean that they didn't have any relationship, and that also is a good thing. So what does this ultimately mean for people with chronic kidney failure? So I would say don't put all your eggs in a nicotinamide riboside basket. The research study here is telling us that it does not appear to improve kidney function. If you're intrigued by the fact that it might lower triglyceride levels, I would say consult with your physician about that. I'll link to this paper below the study so you can print it up and show it to your doctor to see what he or she thinks about all this. One thing I didn't see in this investigation is they didn't appear to compare nicotinamide riboside to niacin or niacinamide, which will also raise NAD levels. So what do you think of all this? Leave a comment below, let me know, and until next time, take care out there.